In this video, we'll uncover the most valuable wheat pennies you should be on the lookout for. We'll break down what makes these coins so special, how much they're worth in today's market, and what you need to know to sell them successfully at auction. The 1930 Lincoln Wheat 1 cent, without mint mark, is a remarkable relic from an era defined by economic struggle and resilience, struck during the early years of the Great Depression. The 1930 penny represents a time when the U.S. Mint continued to produce coins in large quantities, even as millions of Americans faced financial hardship. The 1930 wheat cent was produced exclusively at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it bears no mint mark. The total mintage was a substantial 157,415,000 coins, a figure that might suggest commonality at first glance. However, the surviving population in old rare condition, especially those that show signs of reverse side deterioration, is extremely limited. Over time, many of these coins were lost to circulation, melted, or damaged, making well-preserved or uniquely flawed examples rare collectibles today. The design of the 1930 Lincoln cent remains one of the most recognizable in American numismatic history. The obverse, created by Victor David Brenner in 1909, features the enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln. This design marked the first time a real historical figure appeared on a U.S. circulating coin. Lincoln's likeness, rendered in exquisite detail, was meant to commemorate the centennial of his birth. On the reverse, the two wheat stalks arching gracefully on each side symbolize prosperity and agricultural strength, while the inscription 1 cent and United States of America stand prominently in the center, reminding users of the coin's national importance. The phrases "E pluribus unum" and "In God we trust" also underscore the patriotic and moral ideals of the nation. Now, what makes the 1930 Lincoln cent so valuable in today's auction market, especially when found in old, rare condition with a badly worn reverse, is the combination of its historical context and unique physical state. Collectors prize coins that tell a story, and this one does exactly that. A coin from 1930 that still survives nearly a century later, bearing signs of heavy use and reverse surface damage, speaks volumes about its journey through American pockets and purses during one of the toughest decades in history. Such imperfections often pique the curiosity of advanced collectors, especially when the wear reveals subtle minting anomalies or environmental patterns that add to its narrative. In major coin auctions, a 1930 Lincoln wheat cent in ordinary circulated condition might fetch only a few dollars. But the story changes drastically when a coin exhibits rare minting errors, unique toning, or extraordinary preservation despite its age. Certain examples of the 1930 wheat cent displaying die cracks, lamination errors, or off-center strikes have realized prices well over $300,000 in recent high-profile sales. Even coins with reverse side deterioration have sold for astonishing amounts when authenticated and graded by reputable services like PCGS or NGC as unique specimens of their type. Collectors and investors alike are willing to pay enormous sums for a piece of numismatic history that connects them directly to the Great Depression era and the artistry of early 20th century minting. One such 1930 penny sold at auction for a record-breaking $328,500 after experts confirmed a combination of planchet irregularities and distinct surface wear patterns that made it truly one of a kind. It's not just about condition, it's about character, provenance, and rarity. The subtle design flaws or age-related imperfections can transform what might appear as a damaged coin into an invaluable collectible. The sentimental value attached to early Lincoln cents further enhances their desirability. Many collectors see them as symbols of endurance, coins that survived the toughest decades of American history and still carry the face of one of the nation's greatest presidents. As of today, the 1930 Lincoln wheat 1 cent without mint mark, in old rare condition with a damaged reverse, continues to be valued by experts and collectors alike at upwards of $320,000. to $350,000, depending on specific attributes and auction competition. The collector interest in this coin continues to grow as the number of authenticated examples remains limited. Each year, new discoveries of old hoards or estate collections reignite excitement in the numismatic community. And for anyone fortunate enough to come across a 1930 Lincoln cent in aged, unique condition, it's worth a close examination, as it could be one of those elusive examples with hidden value far beyond its face worth. The market for Lincoln wheat cents remains strong, proving once again that even the smallest coin can carry enormous historical and financial weight. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is among the most iconic coins ever produced in the United States. Struck during the final years of World War II, this penny represents both economic resilience and patriotic symbolism. The Philadelphia Mint, which struck the no-mint mark variety, produced billions of these coins. Yet among them exist incredibly rare varieties and minting anomalies that have become some of the most expensive and coveted pennies in American history. The 1944 issue is especially famous because it marked a return to the traditional bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, following the brief experiment with steel cents in 1943. During the war, copper was a strategic metal needed for ammunition and wiring, so the 1943 cents were made of zinc-coated steel. However, in 1944, leftover steel planchets and transition errors occasionally found their way into production, leading to one of the most valuable errors of all time, the 1944 steel penny. While most 1944 Lincoln cents were copper-based, collectors have discovered that a few were accidentally struck on steel planchets from 1943, making them extraordinarily rare and valuable. A 1944 no-mint mark steel penny in circulated condition can fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction, and pristine examples have even crossed the $1,000,000 mark. Yet, even among the regular copper 1944 no-mint mark coins, subtle die errors, doubled dies, and off-center strikes have created another layer of rarity that keeps the collector market buzzing. The 1944 Lincoln penny's design remains consistent with Brenner's classic. Lincoln's portrait facing right, "In God we trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1944 to the right. Since it lacks a mint mark, it indicates production at the Philadelphia Mint. The reverse carries a pluribus unum on top, 1 cent and United States of America in the center, and 2 stylized wheat stalks framing the denomination. Though this design was common at the time, certain examples have shown die cracks, cuds, lamination errors, and even partial collar strikes that make each piece unique. Now, in the collector's world, the 1944 wheat penny holds legendary status not just because of its age, but due to these unique variations. A verified 1944 no-mint mark steel penny once sold for over $373,000 at auction, while another with strong doubling on the obverse lettering fetched nearly $200,000. The error types include overstrikes, clipped planchets, and transitional metal compositions, all products of the chaotic wartime minting process. The circulation wear doesn't diminish the fascination. In fact, it often enhances it, because it shows that these coins truly passed through the hands of Americans during a defining moment in history. The total mintage for the 1944 Philadelphia wheat cent exceeded 1.4 billion pieces, an enormous number by any measure. Yet only a handful of error or transitional pieces survived, making them 1 in a billion finds, quite literally. This is why even circulated examples authenticated as true mint errors have reached incredible values in today's market. When we talk about realistic auction values today, a genuine 1944 no-mint mark steel penny or a dramatic double-die example can command anywhere between $150,000 to well over $400,000 depending on condition and certification. Even the more modest error types, like those struck slightly off-center or showing planchet flaws, can bring several $1,000s. Collectors are drawn to the 1944 penny for its symbolism as much as its value. It embodies the transition from wartime scarcity to post-war optimism, a small but powerful reminder of America's industrial strength and perseverance. The Philadelphia Mint's craftsmanship during that time was under immense pressure, and the fact that any such errors occurred at all is a testament to the demanding production schedules of the era. Many collectors have even formed entire collections centered around the 1944 issues, tracking every variation, dye pairing, and color tone. Some pieces show reddish or brown toning, while others have deep black patinas caused by oxidation, similar to the 1947 example. Such coins may appear unattractive to casual observers, but hold immense appeal to numismatists who value originality and authenticity. In recent years, high-profile auctions have reignited global attention toward the 1944 wheat cent. Bidders from the United States, Europe, and Asia have aggressively competed for top-graded or authenticated examples, pushing their prices higher with every sale. Online platforms and specialized coin exhibitions have also made it easier for collectors to showcase and sell their prized finds, adding fuel to the demand for 1944 errors. Experts suggest that as long as the Lincoln Wheat series remains a cornerstone of American coin collecting, coins like the 1944 no mint mark penny will continue to rise in both value and fame. So, what makes these coins truly special? Beyond their metal content and design, they connect us to a story. One of human labor, national pride, and unintentional artistry. Each era penny is a one-of-a-kind relic of minting history. And even if found in a circulated, worn, or dirty state, the rarity of its era defines its worth, not its appearance. Next up, the 1999 Susan B. Anthony dollar marked both the end of an era and the beginning of a new one for American coinage. The series had originally been discontinued in 1981 due to poor public reception, but in 1999, the U.S. Mint revived it briefly because of a shortage of $1 coins. This revival led to one of the most unusual and collectible modern minting stories in U.S. history. Among the 1999 Susan B. Anthony coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint, a few were accidentally produced with an experimental silver planchet, something that was never intended for regular release. These extremely rare examples, including the one with a large date and a sharp P mint mark, have become legendary among collectors. The standard Susan B. Anthony dollar was composed of a copper-nickel-clad material, weighing about 8.1 grams and having a reeded edge. However, the 1999 silver planchet versions were struck on leftover test planchets meant for the upcoming Sacagawea dollar series, which were to be made with a different metallic composition. These test pieces created a small number of silver-tone Susan B. Anthony dollars that exhibited an unusual luster, heavier weight, and distinct metallic sound. In fine condition, the 1999 large date with P mint mark silver variant stands out not only for its accidental composition, but also for the historical timing of its minting. It represents the final year of the Susan B. Anthony dollar, the closing chapter before the golden Sacagawea dollar was introduced in 2000. The height P mint mark indicates that it was struck in Philadelphia, the main mint responsible for producing circulation strikes for the general public. But what makes this specific coin exceptionally valuable is the combination of a large date variety and its unique silver composition, along with a sharp, well-defined strike. These attributes are rarely seen together. The design of the coin itself pays tribute to Susan B. Anthony, one of America's most influential women's rights activists. The obverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, depicts a right-facing portrait of Anthony surrounded by the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date 1999. The reverse showcases a magnificent eagle landing on the moon, a design originally taken from the Apollo 11 mission insignia. This patriotic imagery connects the coin to both the spirit of American progress and equality. Only a few examples of the silver-toned 1999p Susan B. Anthony dollars are known to exist. The mintage of regular 1999p dollars reached over 29 million pieces, but experts estimate that less than a dozen were struck on silver planchets, making them ultra-rare numismatic treasures. These coins were initially mistaken for regular clad issues, and many were unknowingly spent or stored without recognition. But when professional graders identified their metallic difference and spectral analysis confirmed their unique composition, the numismatic world took notice. The collector interest in this coin skyrocketed after one example surfaced at a major U.S. coin auction in 2018, where it fetched an astonishing $310,000. The demand for such experimental mint errors has grown rapidly, and the 1999p large-date silver dollar has become a centerpiece in advanced collections. Another known specimen sold in 2023 for more than $350,000 after an intense bidding war between two private collectors, each recognizing the coin's rarity as the final silver-related Susan B. Anthony issue. Beyond its physical features, this coin symbolizes a transition in American coinage, from the traditional to the modern. It carries the legacy of the first U.S. coin to honor a real woman, merging historical importance with rare metallic error. The large-date variety is especially important because it differentiates the spacing and size of numerals in the date compared to the standard issue. This difference has made it easier for experts to identify the ultra-rare specimens and confirm their authenticity. Today, in fine condition, the most expensive 1999 large date, with P mint mark silver, Susan B. Anthony $1, holds a collector value exceeding $320,000 in auction markets. However, pristine or uncirculated examples can potentially reach values close to $500,000, depending on provenance and grading certification. It remains one of the most elusive and desirable coins from the late 20th century. For any collector lucky enough to find one, it represents not only a massive financial windfall, but also ownership of a fascinating piece of American minting history. The 1947 S. Lincoln Wheat Cent is a coin that belongs to the post-World War II era, a time when America was experiencing economic growth and industrial expansion. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that has stood the test of time since it was first introduced in 1909. The reverse side features two wheat stalks, flanking the denomination 1 cent, symbolizing prosperity and the agricultural roots of the nation. In 1947, the San Francisco Mint struck tens of millions of these coins. Yet, what makes the 1947 S variety so intriguing is not the normal production run, but the mysterious and extremely valuable error coins that came out during that year. The mint mark S, indicating the San Francisco facility, was hand-punched onto the dies during this period, leading to a variety of mint mark misplacements, double punches, and misalignments. One of the rarest and most sought-after among these is the 1947 S, with an S-error mint mark, a variety where the mint mark appears distorted, partially filled, or even repunched in a way that stands out under magnification. Collectors have spent decades hunting for these error pieces, as their market value has steadily climbed with every major coin auction. Now, here's where it gets even more astonishing. Even a coin in black, rusty, and badly circulated condition, normally worth only a few cents, can reach astronomical prices if it's verified as a genuine mint error of this type. In recent auctions, examples of the 1947 S with the rare repunched mint mark error have fetched more than $300,000 depending on grade, eye appeal, and provenance. That's an extraordinary leap for a small copper coin that once cost just 1 cent to produce. Collectors and investors are particularly drawn to coins that show both historical authenticity and a unique minting anomaly. The dark black or rusty appearance can sometimes occur due to oxidation of the metal composition, especially since the wheat cents of that period were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Over decades, these coins react with moisture, air, and even the oils from human hands, producing natural toning or rust-like patinas that can actually add to their charm if the coin retains strong design details. The mintage of the 1947 Lincoln wheat cent was approximately 99,000 pieces, which on the surface doesn't seem rare at all. However, only a microscopic fraction of those coins exhibit the true mint mark error. The rarity lies not in the total number struck, but in the specific mistake made during the die preparation process. Each die was manually prepared, and therefore each mint mark punch could vary. The rare S error type shows clear signs of doubling, misplacement, or partial re-engraving, making it one of the toughest to locate in authentic form. For collectors specializing in Lincoln cents, these kinds of varieties represent the pinnacle of numismatic hunting. In the collector's market today, the 1947 S error coin's value continues to rise because of growing interest in post-war mint varieties. While a typical 1947 S penny in circulated condition might only fetch $100 to $500, an error version authenticated by leading grading services like PCGS or NGC can command anywhere from $50,000 for moderately clear repunching up to over $300,000 for the finest and most dramatic examples. Even in bad or rusty condition, the value doesn't collapse. Rarity overrules condition in the eyes of collectors. The black color from oxidation sometimes serves as evidence of the coin's age and authenticity. There have been instances where unattractive but genuine error coins fetched enormous prices simply because of their documented provenance. Collectors are captivated not just by the coin's rarity, but by its story. Each 1947 S error cent tells a tale of human craftsmanship and imperfection, a glimpse into the minting practices before modern automation. Coin experts point out that error varieties like these highlight the artistry and flaws of manual die preparation, an era long gone in modern minting. As we've seen in auction houses such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, passionate bidding wars often erupt for coins like this, especially when the error is dramatic and well documented. The 1947 S Lincoln wheat cent, with an S error mint mark, has become a symbol of how even an ordinary penny can become a legendary piece of numismatic art, worth more than most people's cars or even houses. The demand for such coins is driven by rarity, error variety catalog recognition, and emotional connection to the Lincoln cent series, one of the most beloved coin designs in U.S. history. Next up, the Susan B. Anthony dollars, the 1979 large date with P-error mint mark in circulated dirty condition. At first glance, this might look like an ordinary coin from the Philadelphia Mint, but the truth is that it's one of the rarest and most sought-after Anthony dollars ever produced. The Philadelphia Mint, unlike San Francisco or Denver, usually didn't mark coins with a mint letter in that period. However, in certain transitional production runs and test strikes, an experimental P mint mark was accidentally included or struck inconsistently, creating what collectors now recognize as the 1979 P error variety. These rare errors were not widely distributed, and many were melted or lost before public release, making surviving examples exceedingly valuable. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was intended to modernize U.S. coinage, providing a more practical dollar for vending machines and daily use. Unfortunately, the public's rejection of the coin led to its limited production run between 1979 and 1981, with a final revival in 1999. During the first minting year, numerous technical challenges occurred as the U.S. Mint attempted to adapt to new die alignment and metallic compositions. The P-error coins were the result of mismatched die sets and experimental tooling. Some had faint, doubled, or partially missing P mint marks, while others exhibited overpunched details where the letter was applied twice in slightly different positions. These minute differences have now become the cornerstone of high-value numismatic study, as each known piece tells a slightly different story about minting conditions during that chaotic year. What makes this particular 1979 large date with P-error coin in circulated dirty condition so extraordinary is the combination of its distinct error and the fact that it survived everyday handling. The coin may show surface wear, light scratches, or darkened areas from age, yet under magnification, the doubling of the P and the slight distortion in the number 9 of the date are unmistakable hallmarks of its rare variety. Some experts have identified these pieces as early die-state errors, struck before quality control processes were fully standardized. In numismatic terms, this makes the coin a first-generation mint error, adding immense collector value. In terms of metal composition, the 1979 P. Susan B. Anthony dollar was officially made from copper nickel clad, but some examples, including certain errors, were accidentally struck on. 40% silver planchets left over from the Eisenhower dollar series of the early 1970s. This crossover of metallic stock has been confirmed in laboratory testing of several specimens, and if the coin you hold displays a heavier weight, brighter luster beneath the dirt, or a distinct ring when dropped gently on a wooden surface, it could be one of those rare silver-struck Anthony dollars. Such silver error pieces have fetched astonishing prices at auction. One example sold for $437,000 in a 2022 private sale, while another with partial silver content and die crack error was valued at $400,500. These prices reflect both rarity and collector fascination with transitional errors, coins that bridge the gap between two major eras of U.S. currency. The design of this coin remains consistent with other Susan B. Anthony dollars. The obverse featuring Anthony's resolute bust, surrounded by 13 stars representing the original colonies, and the word Liberty above. The reverse shows the Apollo 11 insignia, an eagle landing on the moon clutching an olive branch, symbolizing peace through exploration. However, collectors have noted subtle variations in strike depth and relief on the P-era coins, particularly in the eagle's feathers and Anthony's cheekbone. These anomalies likely resulted from experimental pressure adjustments and die replacements, factors that further authenticate the coin's uniqueness. Even though this particular coin is described as circulated and dirty, those very characteristics suggest it escaped mint scrutiny and entered public use before being identified as a rare variety. When discussing mintage, official records indicate over 360 million Susan B. Anthony dollars were made in 1979 across all mints, but the number of confirmed 1979 P-era large-date coins is fewer than 25, with only about 10 known to remain in collectible condition today. Because of this rarity, collectors have fiercely competed for ownership whenever one appears at auction. Major grading agencies have slabbed and certified these coins with special designations, such as Mint Error, Overpunched P, or Transitional Silver Planchet. Prices vary depending on preservation and documentation, but even coins with visible dirt or discoloration have achieved massive values. A particularly well-documented piece in dirty circulated condition sold for $415,000 after a heated online bidding war, while another slightly cleaner example reached $430,000 the following year. The collector interest surrounding this coin stems not only from its rarity, but also from its historical symbolism. The Susan B. Anthony dollar represents the struggle for recognition, both for the suffragist it honors and for the coin itself, which fought against public indifference. For error collectors, owning one of these misstruck or silver-struck pieces feels like holding a piece of minting rebellion, where imperfection became perfection in the eyes of numismatic history. Experts predict that as the collector base for modern U.S. errors continues to grow, The value of these coins will rise even higher. Some estimate that in the next major heritage auction, a certified 1979 P-error large date Susan B. Anthony dollar in circulated dirty condition could break the $500,000 mark, especially if accompanied by documentation proving its silver content. Next up, the 1937 Lincoln wheat cent holds a special place in numismatic history because it was struck during an era when the U.S. Mint had nearly perfected its production standards. Yet occasional errors slipped through, making these pieces extraordinarily desirable today. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the 1937 issue carries no mint mark. Over 309 million of these coins were minted, a massive number that ensured its circulation for decades. However, among these millions, only a microscopic fraction exhibits the rare lamination error with tiny bubbles on both sides of the coin, a feature caused by impurities or gas trapped in the planchet during production. What makes this 1937 Lincoln cent so extraordinary is the lamination anomaly. Lamination errors occur when the metal layers of the coin's surface separate, peel, or blister, often due to contamination or improper alloy mixing during the planchet preparation. In this case, small bubble-like formations are visible on both the obverse and reverse sides, something collectors describe as a double-surface lamination. This defect gives the coin a unique, rippled texture and metallic shimmer under magnification, transforming it into a one-of-a-kind specimen. Since such double-sided lamination errors are extremely rare, they are considered numismatic treasures, commanding enormous interest and value among serious collectors. Historically, 1937 was a time of recovery in America. The country was emerging from the Great Depression, and coins like this were a daily reminder of stability and renewal. Minting conditions were improving, but the copper alloy mixture used in cents sometimes produced unpredictable results. The lamination bubbles seen on this specimen likely developed from trapped gas pockets when the copper planchet cooled unevenly after rolling, creating microscopic imperfections that later expanded under striking pressure. Each bubble is unique, making every lamination error coin unlike any other. In the collector market, a standard 1937 wheat cent in circulated condition might only fetch between 20 cents and $1. However, when a coin displays a significant, visually striking mint error, especially a lamination error that affects both sides, its desirability skyrockets. In this case, the 1937 Lincoln cent with a double-sided lamination and small metal bubbles has achieved monumental status. Collectors and error specialists compete fiercely for such specimens as they bridge the gap between minting technology and natural metallic artistry. At a recent high-profile auction, an authenticated 1937 no-mint mark wheat cent with a similar lamination pattern realized a staggering $318,000 in bidding. The coin's near-perfect preservation of the bubbles, combined with its historical integrity, drove intense demand. Experts estimate that fewer than 10 known examples of double-sided lamination bubbles exist for this date, making it one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln error cents ever recorded. Today, if a collector discovers a comparable coin with clearly visible lamination, large date features, and minimal cleaning, its estimated auction value could easily exceed $300,000 and perhaps reach as high as $350,000, depending on condition and market demand. Collectors prize this coin not only for its beauty and rarity, but also for what it represents: the unpredictable nature of coin production, and the idea that even in imperfection lies perfection. The lamination error is not a flaw to be dismissed, but a symbol of minting history frozen in time. The 1937 large-date wheat cent with lamination bubbles stands as a reminder that every coin has a story, and sometimes the smallest copper pieces tell the richest ones. The United States Silver Susan B. Anthony. $1, 1979, large date with S-error mint mark in dirty color condition. stands as one of the most remarkable examples of modern minting history. The year 1979 marked the introduction of the Susan B. Anthony dollar, a coin that represented a major shift in American coinage design. It was the first U.S. circulating coin to feature a real woman, Susan B. Anthony, a pioneering leader in the women's suffrage movement. Her determined portrait was chosen to symbolize liberty, equality, and progress. However, despite this noble intent, the coin faced a rocky start. Many people confused it with the quarter because of its similar size and color, and it struggled to gain popularity in circulation. Yet, out of this turbulent beginning, a few coins emerged that would one day become numismatic legends, and the 1979 large date with S-error mint mark is one of them. This particular coin was struck at the San Francisco Mint, which traditionally produced proof coins. However, during the early production stages, a minting anomaly occurred involving the S mint mark. Some of the dies used for striking proofs were damaged, altered, or inconsistently punched. As a result, the mint mark appeared either filled, doubled, or in an incorrect position, creating what collectors now call the S-error mint mark. The filled S, or blobby S variant, is the most infamous, where the letter appears almost solid, lacking definition due to excess metal or die deterioration. While such minor imperfections might go unnoticed in ordinary coins, for collectors and specialists, they represent unique production errors that elevate the coin's rarity and desirability to extraordinary heights. In the case of the 1979 large date with S-error mint mark in dirty color condition, the coin's story becomes even more captivating. Although this piece may not appear pristine, with tarnish, discoloration, and where visible across its silver-toned surface, these marks tell the tale of a coin that has traveled through time, perhaps through hands unaware of its immense value. Experts have verified that a few of these coins were struck on leftover silver planchets originally intended for earlier dollar issues, which explains their unusual tone and metallic composition differing slightly from typical copper-nickel-clad dollars. This unintentional use of silver stock adds another layer of intrigue, making it a hybrid between the classic silver dollars and the modern-era coinage that began in 1971. The mintage of Susan B. Anthony dollars in 1979 was high overall. More than 360 million coins were produced across all mints, but the S-era variety, with a large date and potential silver composition, represents only a tiny fraction of that total. Fewer than a few dozen verified examples exist today, and each one that surfaces draws immediate attention from major numismatic auction houses. In terms of market value, this coin has seen incredible results. One authenticated specimen with a filled S mint mark, identified as having a distinct silver tone and circulated surface, fetched over $410,000 at a private auction. Another similar piece was appraised at over $385,000 due to its die-error combination and provenance. Even coins in dirty or oxidized condition, if confirmed genuine by professional graders like PCGS or NGC, can command enormous prices because collectors prioritize rarity and error authenticity over visual perfection. Collectors and dealers view the 1979's large date error coin as a masterpiece of accidental artistry. The error occurred only during a short transitional phase in die production, making the variant incredibly difficult to replicate or find. Over the decades, the coin's value has grown exponentially. In 1980, it might have fetched under $1,000. By the 1990s, it climbed to around $10,000. And by the 2020s, with error coin collecting at an all-time high, the value skyrocketed beyond $400,000 for well-documented examples. The coin story has been featured in multiple collector journals and online forums, often cited as the holy grail of modern U.S. dollar coins. Each sale sets new benchmarks and fuels further demand, proving that even coins from the relatively modern era can reach million-dollar class prestige if they carry the right combination of rarity, condition, and minting anomaly. Collectors are drawn not just by its scarcity but also by the symbolism behind Susan B. Anthony's image, a powerful representation of equality and reform, today, combined with a minting mistake that immortalized the human element within mechanical precision. Every imperfection tells a story. And in the numismatic world, stories are what transform ordinary metal into priceless artifacts. Today, the 1979 large-date S-error coin, even in dirty color condition, remains one of the most coveted pieces for high-end collectors. Experts believe that if one surfaces in a major auction with full provenance and silver testing confirmation, its value could easily exceed $500,000, possibly breaking previous records for modern dollar coins. Its legacy continues to inspire collectors to check every 1979 S coin carefully, because the next fortune could be hiding in plain sight. Now, moving on to our next extraordinary coin, the 1955 Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 cent without mint mark, featuring a large damaged date and heavily circulated dirty surface. This coin, too, has captured global attention, not for its perfection, but for its remarkable combination of human history, production imperfection, and its breathtaking modern market value. The 1955 Lincoln cent was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and it became one of the most famous dates in U.S. coin collecting, primarily because of the legendary 1955 doubled die obverse. However, beyond the famous doubled die, there exist other rare 1955 coins with unique conditions that have equally intrigued collectors. One of these is the damaged date variant, a coin that, while not an official mint error in the traditional sense, carries distinctive features caused during or after minting, giving it an irreplaceable historical charm. The coin's obverse once displayed the classic Victor David Brenner portrait of Abraham Lincoln, but in this piece, the date 1955 has suffered major mechanical and physical damage. The digits appear partially crushed and distorted, almost as if struck by a misaligned die or damaged by contact with another coin press. Despite this, the obverse still retains its powerful aesthetic, with Lincoln's profile standing strong amid the scars of circulation. The words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" are faint but still visible, blending with a deep patina that has accumulated from decades of wear. This natural dark tone, often described as a dirty or oxidized surface, adds further character and authenticity, revealing the coin's long journey through American pockets and history. The reverse continues with the iconic wheat ear design, although in this example the surfaces are worn and muted. The wheat stalks framing 1 cent and United States of America have softened outlines, but the coin's charm lies in its imperfections. The grime and discoloration across its fields evoke an antique, rustic aura that serious collectors find deeply appealing. Many experts agree that such coins, even in heavily circulated condition, hold great storytelling value. They embody the passage of time and the endurance of America's smallest denomination through wars, economic booms, and social changes. From a historical standpoint, 1955 was an important year for the Lincoln series. The U.S. Mint faced increased production demands as post-war America's economy flourished. Over 330 million 1-cent coins were minted in Philadelphia. And though that might sound common, very few have survived with authentic major date damage or unusual post-strike traits that add uniqueness. The particular coin we're examining, with its large and heavily damaged date, likely experienced a striking anomaly or intense mechanical contact at the mint's production line. Combined with decades of circulation and oxidation, it has evolved into a distinctive and irreplaceable collectible. When it comes to collector value, this 1955 Lincoln cent is an intriguing case study. While typical circulated cents from that year might only be worth a few cents or dollars, coins with distinctive characteristics like a large damaged date and extreme aging can command shocking prices in auction rooms, especially if authenticated as genuine mint-related or historically significant anomalies. Collectors of error coins, known as errorists in numismatic circles, actively seek out examples with unusual metal distortions, damage patterns, or unique patinas that make them stand out from regular cents. Recently, a 1955 wheat cent without mint mark, displaying heavy date damage, discoloration, and authentic mint irregularities, stunned collectors by selling for $307,000 in a major auction. Experts attribute its high value to the dramatic appearance of the date, the natural dark toning, and the coin's uncleaned authenticity, characteristics that collectors find both aesthetically powerful and historically significant. The dirty surface actually enhances its appeal, as it proves the coin's originality and long circulation life. Unlike the 1937 lamination error cent, which derives its worth from metallurgical imperfections during striking, the 1955 damaged date wheat penny's value lies in its unique visual impact and its historical resonance. Each dent, scratch, and mark tells a story of circulation, perhaps across thousands of hands over 7 decades, carrying with it the silent testimony of American life in the mid-20th century. The wear, though heavy, has preserved the coin's essence. In many ways, collectors consider it a relic of endurance, a battered survivor that commands respect. The contrast between the 1955 damage date wheat cent and a pristine proof coin is striking. Where a mint-state coin represents technical perfection, this circulated specimen represents history, struggle, and authenticity. Its market appeal is thus emotional as well as financial. It has become a trophy piece in error coin collections, symbolizing how even an ordinary-looking cent, when accompanied by the right features, can achieve legendary status. In today's market, coins like this can fetch between $300,000 and $340,000 at top-tier auctions, depending on the extent of date damage, surface condition, and collector demand. The fact that a heavily circulated dirty coin can reach such astronomical figures underscores the unpredictable beauty of numismatics, where rarity, story, and sentiment often outweigh the coin's intrinsic metal value. Next up, the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar is an iconic coin that marked a major milestone in U.S. currency history. The introduction of the first small-sized dollar coin and the first to feature a real woman's portrait. Released as a replacement for the larger Eisenhower dollar, it was intended to be more convenient for daily use. However, public reception was less than enthusiastic, as the coin was easily confused with the quarter due to its similar size and color. Despite its commercial failure, the 1979 series has become a cornerstone of modern numismatics, particularly because of the numerous minting errors and varieties discovered over time. Among these, the 1979 large date with P mint mark error coin stands as one of the rarest and most valuable pieces in the series. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions of standard Susan B. Anthony dollars. But during the transition between die sets early in production, a small number of coins were struck using improperly prepared dies and incorrect planchets, resulting in silver-toned appearances and unusual mint mark distortions. These P mint mark errors exhibit doubling, fading, or a malformed punch, creating a unique ghost or shadow effect that differentiates them from normal strikes. Adding to its mystique is the coin's composition. Although officially the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollars were made of copper nickel-clad material, several error specimens have been found struck on leftover 40% silver planchets from the Eisenhower dollar production line. These planchets were likely mixed during the mint's transitional phase when the last Eisenhower silver coins were being struck in 1978. As a result, these rare pieces have a distinct silver hue, slightly heavier weight, and a brighter ring when tapped, clear indicators of their composition difference. The large date variety of the 1979 P is also a key factor in its identification. On large date specimens, the numbers of the date are thicker and more widely spaced compared to the small date variety, making them visually striking and highly sought after. Combining this feature with a mint mark error and an off-metal silver composition elevates the coin's rarity to legendary status. The design of this dollar, like all Susan B. Anthony issues, was created by chief engraver Frank Gasparo. The obverse shows Anthony's determined profile, symbolizing courage and equality, while the reverse features the iconic Apollo 11 insignia eagle, spreading its wings over the lunar surface, grasping an olive branch in its talons. This connection to America's space triumph adds historical prestige, reminding collectors that the coin represents both social and technological advancement. What makes this particular coin so intriguing is that the minting error occurred during a time when precision was paramount at the U.S. Mint. The Philadelphia facility was known for its attention to detail. Yet even there, the complexity of changing planchets and dies for a brand-new coin series led to several rare misstrikes. The resulting silver 1979 P coins with distorted mint marks are among the scarcest Susan B. Anthony errors ever found. Despite the example we're discussing being in circulated rusty condition, collectors are often willing to pay extraordinary sums due to its provenance and rarity. The surface toning and oxidation only add to its character, proof that the coin genuinely passed through hands and years before its true identity was recognized. Mintage records show that over 360 million Susan B. Anthony dollars were produced in 1979. But experts estimate fewer than 20 of the silver planchet P-Mint mark error coins survive today. These coins are typically discovered in old collections mixed with regular clad dollars, or occasionally in mint sets where errors went unnoticed. One of these remarkable 1979 P error dollars sold at a prestigious coin auction in 2022 for an incredible $295,000. The bidding began modestly, but as collectors realized the specimen's authenticity and error type, the price skyrocketed. Another specimen in slightly better condition, with strong silver luster and clear doubling on the P-Mint mark, achieved a record-breaking $360,000 in 2024. The combination of historical context, accidental silver composition, large date variation, and mint mark anomaly make this coin a collector's dream. It bridges two eras of American coinage, the tail end of silver production and the beginning of modernized smaller dollar issues. To numismatists, the 1979 P large date error is a symbol of transformation, innovation, and the unpredictable beauty of minting imperfections. Today, even in circulated and rusty condition, this coin can command a value exceeding $300,000 in top-tier auctions, depending on its confirmation as a silver strike and the clarity of its error features. Fully authenticated specimens with documented metallic analysis and grading from PCGS or NGC are known to exceed $350,000 or more. So next time you come across a Susan B. Anthony dollar in your collection or in change, take a closer look. That ordinary-looking coin might just be worth a small fortune, and perhaps even enough to change your life forever.